And here we are yet again. It is Friday, November the 6th, and this is episode 3 of The Long Haul. And for a change, I'm not in the car, at home. Actually wound up not going into work today because the chest pain was just that bad this morning. So, a few things I want to talk about today. An update, positive update actually, a not so positive update, something very important that needs to be discussed in general, but also when it comes to COVID and COVID long haulers. Then another little bit of a rant. This one's going to be political. We just had we're still going through the election here in the United States, so yeah. And if you don't like it, it's my channel, and you can just turn the video off now. So the good, we'll start with the good first. My appetite's starting to come back. It's only taken 6 months, actually over 6 months, but I'm actually been getting hungry. And considering I'm still over 10 pounds lighter than I was when I got sick back in April, that's a pretty good sign. Shouldn't have taken this long. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get back up to where I was anytime soon. I get hungry, but I'll eat a little something and then that's it. I'm not hungry anymore, and then I'm forcing the rest of it, which makes me sick to my stomach. So there's a good side, but there's a bad side, and I'm working to get everything all on the good side. So, fingers crossed that we'll have that'll actually start getting a little bit of sustained weight loss. At least another 5 pounds would be nice. Get back somewhat to where I was. What I really want to get back is my endurance, and considering the chest pains, which actually in the last few days have been worse, I'll get to that in a moment, but the chest pains and the breathing issues, I can't even get out and go for a walk anymore, which I really do miss. I loved going out for walks, open up Pokemon Go and just have fun. But yeah, that's kind of not going to happen, at least for the time being. So, the chest pains, since I brought that up, I had new pain on Wednesday. Felt like I was getting stabbed repeatedly in both lungs simultaneously. Didn't last long. I haven't had it since, but that actually took the wind out of me. Also, just probably 45 minutes ago, right. Let me move a little bit here, but yeah, right in here. Earlier today, just being in a sitting position, feeling like I'm being stabbed in the sternum. Again, that took the air out of me. That was not fun by any stretch of the imagination. I have an appointment on Monday with my doctor. Going to be looking at possible medications for pain. Although the pain isn't constant, it comes in waves and it moves. It'll be on my right side or on my left side or in the middle of my chest. I'm actually feeling a little bit in the middle of my chest right now, and oh joy, I'm starting to get winded from talking for 4 minutes and 5 seconds. So this leads into something that I feel needs to be discussed, both in general and specifically when it comes to survivors and long haulers of COVID-19, and that's mental health. There is this huge stigma in this country about mental health. When the pandemic started, I actually, the day before my county went into shelter in place, it was on March 16th. Because it was the day after my 16th wedding anniversary. So I remember this very well. I'd had my first therapy session in quite a while. I have issues with not necessarily therapy, but certain therapists. When I was in college, and shortly after when I got the second diagnosis of depression, I had a therapist who basically kept asking me if I believed in God, and didn't seem to like it when I gave my answer. I am not a Christian. I turned my back on organized religion when I was 14, for personal reasons that I don't feel the need to get into here. But when I give I actually had to answer this question more than once. And when she basically makes it sound like my problems would be solved if I just accepted Jesus Christ as my personal savior, that's when I basically started spouting all this BS that I was cured so I wouldn't have to deal with her anymore. This was a therapist through San Jose State. Don't know if she's still there. I hope not. But yeah, don't push religion on people. That's just, no, that can cause more problems. Because it kept me from going to therapy for a very, very long time. That was in the early 2000s. So there's that. But mental health, yes. Like I said, I had started therapy. I finished the course of therapy while while I was sick, and then as the chest pains and the breathing issues became more and more prevalent, the doctor, actually, I've had two doctors suggest, well, maybe it's anxiety. So I went back to my therapist, very good therapist. This one listens and doesn't try to push religion on you. It's great. She's just trying to make sure that I practice the skills I need to recover, like making sure I do something I enjoy for 5 minutes a day and try to be more self-reaffirming, which I gotta admit I'm not good at. I bash myself left, right, and center. I mean, if there's self-loathing, this is the face of it right here. But one of the things that we've been dealing with since I've been sick and with my recovery is basically she said that I'm mourning my health. I'm mourning the way I was before I got sick, before April. And that's a really good way to talk about it. So I'm trying to get through. Basically, I've got to let go of how I was. I've got to adapt to how I am now, and I've got to work to get to a better place than I'm at now. It sounds simple. It is not. It's a long process. Now I bring this up not only because mental health. There's, like I said, there's a stigma about that in this country, and there really shouldn't be. Mental health should be viewed no different, I think, than physical health. People aren't going to look at the way I breathe, or me dealing with the vertigo that I've developed, or the chest pains, and say, oh, well, maybe if you just tried to feel better, you would. Some people have tried that, and I tell them to shut the hell up. But when it comes to mental health, it's like, oh, well, just feel better. It's all in your head. Well, yeah, it is in your head. It's your brain. A lot of depression is a chemical imbalance. And I had an argument with this one guy at work back in March when I was getting ready to start therapy, and he was doing this tirade against antidepressants. I was like, oh, well, you don't want to put chemicals in your body. And I just looked at him, I'm like, okay, number one, pretty much everything's a chemical. Even water's a chemical. And we put that in our bodies all the time because we need it. Physically, we need it. And I asked him, would you say the same thing to a diabetic who needed insulin injections? Because they're putting a chemical into their body, one that their body is supposed to make naturally, but doesn't, so it has to be supplemented. The same thing with antidepressants. The only problem with antidepressants is some of the side effects can be really nasty, which leads me to my point. That is something that my therapist, not my therapist, but my doctor is talking about putting me back on. So there's going to be a talk about that on Monday when my appointment is, because I don't want to deal with the side effects. That just adds to everything. And then also possibly some pain medication, which I'm reluctant to take. Addiction runs in my family. My father's an addict. It was pills, pain medication specifically, alcohol, and now heroin. He was sober for a few years, about 16, 17 years ago, and he jumped off the wagon. Just head first dived right off. Right into the shallow end. And so yesterday was the 10-year anniversary of when my gallbladder had to be removed. And I was put on pain medication for it. It was Vicodin. And my other half had an overnight gig the night I got out of the hospital, so I had to go stay with my mom and my sister, and unfortunately my father. Now, my mom and my sister have both also had their gallbladders out, and my sister can get me to do things nobody else can, mainly because of threats of physical violence. She's my big sister, what do you expect? But she was able to get me to take my pain meds when I needed to take them. We had to hide them from my dad, because he even asked when I got there, oh, what would they give you for pain? See, I know. I mean, I could just see the wheels turning in his head. He wanted it. So we had to hide it, and I wouldn't take it unless I was in so much pain I was doubled over. So that's how I am with pain meds. I've got this deep-seated fear of addiction. I don't want to fall down that path. People are saying that if it was going to happen, it would have happened already, but I just don't want to take the chance. So, basic update is appetite's starting to come back, so that's good. Pain is worse, so that's bad. I actually didn't even go into work today because my chest was hurting that bad, and when you have vertigo when you're trying to take a shower, that's never a good thing. So, politics. Election week here in the United States between the incumbent Donald Trump and Joe Biden, former vice president. The Biden-Harris ticket was not the ideal ticket for me, but it's what we got. Yes, I am a Democrat. Again, if you don't like that, you can turn this off now. It's my channel. I will post what I want. Trump has spent his presidency saying he's going to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. But they do this backwards. They want to get rid of it first, and then they'll replace it, which would kick thousands of people off of their health insurance. Now, I have employee-provided health insurance, and it's very good. It's helped get me through COVID. But I've got pre-existing conditions. I have depression. I have anxiety. I'm asthmatic. And now I've got this wonderful suite of problems from being a COVID survivor. And if the protections against being discriminated against by insurance companies because of pre-existing conditions were to be done away with, I'd be out of luck. Oh, he's going to be too expensive to cover, so we're just going to not let him do it. And that's just one of the reasons I wanted Trump out of there, other than the fact that, God, no, that's just going to open too big of a can of worms. It's been a nightmare for 4 years. When he bragged about being able to sexually assault somebody, that should have been the end of it right there. I mean, I have known a lot of people who've been raped and who've been molested and assaulted, and he's bragging that he could do it, and no. That's no. He needs to go. Yeah, I was going somewhere with this, but I kind of just derailed. Brain fog happens. But as of this morning, Pennsylvania and freaking Georgia are trending blue. So we may finally have him out of there. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits and recounts, but most recounts, it doesn't produce more of a swing than maybe 100 to 200 votes, and Trump's down by a lot in some places. So I'm not expecting things to be done too soon. I mean, I still remember the 2000 election, and that went into December, I think. At least this time around, my name isn't being used as a punchline for a joke. You know, the hanging Chads and the dimpled Chads. It's not as bad as Chad being used as a insult about basically like the douchebag dude bros. One thing I do like is that incels view Chads as guys who will get all the ladies so they can't get laid, and glad to do my part. Not that I'm doing much. Just be a decent human being. That'll get you places. Nobody owes you anything, let alone sex. And this has gone way too much of a tangent. I think it's about time that I turn things off. So that's where I'm at now. I see my doctor on Monday. I see my therapist a few days after that. So maybe I'll have some new things to try to help get my head back where it's supposed to be. And I will talk to you all again next Friday.